Hey, this is going to be a quick one. I wanted to hit a topic of when we have to engage with our exes. This has come up in the Discord and some discussions, and I thought it would be a good time to hit it. And primarily, this is whenever you're trying to interact with your ex, or you're put into a situation where you have to interact with your ex. And these are some things I would like you to think about and remember if you find yourself in this situation. First thing, just remember, expect that they will try everything. They will use anything and everything against you, and they're going to use your answers against you as well. And this came up as with a couple of examples. I'm going to use one story from myself and one from the Discord. And the first one on this was a couple of years ago. I know I've talked about it before in videos, but just to hit it again. And it was basically a scenario where my ex had the kids for the Christmas break. And the way our school is it's like Thursday and Friday, the week before Christmas. The kids are out of school, then they're out for that entire week, and then they're out for the following week. And it really turns into a huge block of time, especially in my situation for the ex, because since she normally gets Monday and Tuesday, then it's like, sometimes I think even the kids are out on Wednesday. But bottom line is like she's getting her normal time plus those extra days, plus those 2 weeks. And it just turns into a huge block of time. And a couple of years ago, what the ex tried to do in my situation is, and I'm not even sure what the deal was, but she was like, "Hey, do you want the kids? Do you want to see the kids for a couple of hours on my time?" And I'm like, what? And it was one of those, but then it rolled into, well, if you don't care about the kids and you don't want to see them, I guess it's okay. But I thought I would just offer, right? So it's like it's a lose-lose, right? You're either agreeing to whatever, breadcrumbs that they're trying to give you, or you hate your kids, right? It's always that completely, that completely bizarre dichotomy of options. It can't just be, hey, would you like to see the kids over the break? I know it's a long break. If you want to, let me know. And just leave it at that. No, it has to be this, you're a scumbag because you're not answering and, you're not agreeing to it. And it's all bull. It's all a game. It's all trying to set up fodder for future attacks. And bottom line is, it's all for double binds. It's all to set up double binds. It gives you limited options, and nothing's really good. Right? Now, I know if you can, and the other thing about this is you can even look at the situation I was just talking about from my own personal experience. Well, to everyone else, it's like, well, why wouldn't you want to see your kids for a couple hours? They're just being nice. They're offering up time. Of course, if you're saying no, it's got to be because you're a bad person or you're just being difficult, right? It sets up those double binds. And it's one of those things where we know because from past experience that there's always a catch. There's always a catch. They'll throw you a bone, and then there'll be something significant where they'll want like an extra weekend or something, and it'll be like, well, I gave you those 2 hours during the holidays. Why won't you let me have another week or something? And that was the situation in my situation, is every time that I gave into or negotiated or did some, if she did me quote unquote a favor, the cost later on was significant. And that's part of the thing is, right? I mean, you get stuck in this situation where there's no good responses. There's no good answers. And a lot of times it's orchestrated in such a way to make you look like an uncaring ogre, not willing to negotiate or work together or anything like that. One of the other examples I was talking about is from the Discord, is someone had posted that their ex was like, "Hey, on Halloween, I have this appointment, so you can have the kids early, or they're going to be late." It's like, agree to what I say, and you get extra time. And if you say no, then I'm going to ruin the Halloween holiday with them. But the way it looks is like, well, why wouldn't you want extra time? Why? Well, I'm just being nice. I'm just offering up extra time at the last second for the kids. And then the dialogue went, just goes down this pit of hell. Why can't you just answer, yes or no, or whatever. Bottom line is, like in my situation, probably what I should have said is if I didn't want to do it, which I didn't because I didn't trust it, I should have just said no, you know? And unfortunately back at that point, I was still in the mode where I was engaging and interacting with my ex. So I had to come up with a legitimate reason. And right around that time, the therapist had made a comment about how bad it was for the kids over at their mom's. And I came up with some stupid response like, well, you know what, it would just be too hard on the kids. You know, according to the therapist, it's so, they have such a hard time at your place, and my place is so different that for them to get the reprieve to come over to my place for just a little bit would make it harder for them to have to go back to you, right? I mean, and I paid for that, guys. I mean, I absolutely paid for, I should have just said, no, nope, sorry, it's not going to work for me. I have other plans or whatever, and just left it at that. But no, I had to find a way to poke back. I had to find that way to fight back, to do something to validate my response, which was a waste. I didn't need to do that. What ended up happening in my situation is when the kids came back after that 28-day period with their mom, it was a freaking nightmare. Groundhog Day hit reset. The kids were walked in like, it's no different than my house and your house. I mean, they had completely been brainwashed for that extended period of time. And it took an extended period of time, probably the longest like a few weeks for the kids to get back to normal. And I know in retrospect, it was because I was fighting back with her. I was pushing back from those, that double bind setup. And as a result of me tipping my hand too much, it caused the kids were targeted, and it wasn't a pleasant experience. So I think that's what I'm going to roll into next is just ways that you can deal with this to help you out. First thing is slow yourself down. Just take a deep breath. Don't immediately react. You basically do not respond immediately. That conversation was occurring in real time in person, which is, prior to that, it was via email, and I was basically ignoring it. She took the opportunity when we were together. That conversation really went downhill. And it was one of those things where I was just responding in real time, and it wasn't really in my best interest and didn't help. So, I mean, and the other thing is really think about your options, right? Think about what exactly the decision is going to be. I mean, to be perfectly honest, even though it probably was for her to do something, she probably had something that she wanted to do, and she was just looking to have me watch the kids or something. I don't know. I mean, who knows? Who knows? Maybe in her mind, she was just being nice. I don't know. Realistically, probably in retrospect, I should have. See, the problem is I worked during the whole thing, so it wasn't like it was like, sure, hey, they can come over on an extra day or whatever. And the weekends were. I mean, it was a stupid thing on her part. But you know what? If I could have figured it out, if I could have made it to where we could have had a few hours, 3 or 4 hours, and they could have come over and watched a movie, or we could have done something, fine. And that's the thing is like, really look at what's going on. I mean, we get so focused. We get so focused and fixated on what's going on with the ex and what their angle is, and they have an angle, right? I mean, they have an angle, but a lot of times angle doesn't really mean crap to us or to our kids. In retrospect, I should have thought of something different. And that other example, talking about that, I would say, I mean, same type of comment I was talking about before with me, with work. You turn around, and if they say, hey, can you do this? You say if you can make it happen, you say yes. If you can't, say no. And even if the answer is no, and the kids need to still be dropped off at 6, just say, hey, I can't do it early, but they do need to be dropped off at 6. So whatever you have to do to make the normal time, that's fine. Something along those lines. And typically, what I do now is, and I think I said this in my response on the Discord, is I just don't plan on being able to do anything where it's so backed up to what their mom is. I just expect it's going to get ruined. It's depressing, but that's kind of how I've dealt with it. So if I had if for some reason, I'm trying to think, because our drop-offs are at school. If I had something that I was planning on doing and it was on a weekend, like let's say Halloween was on a Saturday and it was my time, I wouldn't anticipate that they would be on time. They might. Sometimes they are, sometimes they aren't. And I would just work around it. One, to make sure that I mitigated whatever happened. 2, to where if they are late, it doesn't affect the plan. And 3, have a backup plan to where if everything does work out, we're still able to do it, right? I mean, now does that mean that means I won't be going, I wouldn't schedule to go do certain things whenever it's back to back with their mom having the kids? Yeah, that's exactly what I do. That's how I did it. And that's the thing, is I look for ways to mitigate the shenanigans with what's going on to where it doesn't really cause problems. I mean, I've had my ex, quick example I'll try to throw out there is with food. I remember early on I would send her notes saying, hey, you know, are you going to feed the kids? Can you let me know one way or the other? And she wouldn't. And I would make dinner and the kids would come, you know, bellies all full and, you know, oh, we just ate, you know, throw everything away or put it in, you know, save it for the next day. And then when I wouldn't make anything, that would be the one time that you know, they're like starving. Oh, we haven't eaten, you know. And I remember one point after I tried to negotiate with her via email and she just, you know, wouldn't answer, ignored me. You know, she basically was doing the silent treatment. And then later I stopped talking to her and she was trying to find ways to re-engage with me. She was trying to say, hey, you know, well, you know, do you want to do dinner? Do you want me to do dinner? And I was just like, you know what? Ooh, I almost said her name. I said, you know what? X, I'm trying to think of the right term. I was just like, you know, whatever. You do whatever you need to do because I have a plan with whatever you do. And this is primarily for the Wednesdays. It's like, if you feed them, fine. If you don't feed them, fine. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to sit and negotiate with you. And I didn't necessarily go, you know what, actually, I might have gone into more detail on that. But it was a very short email. So, you know, finally on this, to wrap this thing up, is just remember that they're trying to push your buttons. They are trying to get under your skin, to one, get you to think like what we're talking about right now. Like, what is they trying to do? What's the plan? You know, what's the ulterior motive? What is the thing? Yeah, the motive is just to get under your skin, to push your buttons. It might not even be that they want to do something. They're like, hey, we're going to dump the kids off on you because, you know, I'm going to go to a party. It's just to play the mind games. And that's the thing. I mean, just remember that that's what it is. So, you know, if you can accept that and not try to deal with or not try to get yourself all wrapped up with whatever game they're trying to play, it'll make things a little bit easier. And then just focus on what works for you, what works for you kids, and what you can pull off. And don't get into it too much. If it's one of those things where it doesn't work, then it just doesn't work. And if it's something that can work for you, then you make it work. And I would also say if they play a stupid game like that and you agree to it, be prepared that they might screw it up and say, oh, well, yeah, no, this isn't going to work now, right? Because it's all about that manipulation and that getting under your skin and pushing your buttons, trying to, you know, boop, get you to just get all angry and get all frustrated. So on that, I'm going to wrap this up. If you want to add into the discussion on how this has happened with you and maybe some tips and techniques that you've used to basically help you go through it, or even if you want to hit some of the mistakes, put that down in the comments below. If there's some other video, let's see if I can do this right. I think it's over this way maybe. I have some other videos that might be interesting to you. Plus, I got the Mindset from Narcissistic Abuse Recovery playlist down at the bottom link there. So check that out. There's some good videos in there that could help you out. And I will chat with you on the next video. Take care. Bye.